Hey, Gary here, and welcome to Book Mob. Today I have a great episode. I was fortunate enough to talk with the lovely Polly J. Mordant, who is a British based writer, and she has written the Flamark series, which I discussed in my immersive reading video previously. This is Polly's first book on that series. Um, just check the description below because I'll put in all her links to her Substack and things like that, and you can check out her work if you feel. And I highly recommend that you do. Polly and I had a fantastic chat. We went through so many things. Now, anyway, so here we go with our wonderful talk with Polly J. Mordant. Take it away to the tape.
Move on to something else.
I wanted to know, do you have a writing spot area? You know, somewhere where you go and go, this is it. Oh,
There it is.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
It's just, it's like I've got an L-shaped living room, and
Okay,
I'm
nice.
in the L. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And do you handwrite? Do you type? What do you?
No, my handwriting would definitely need a chemist.
Yeah, I was about to say it's like a doctor's.
It is terrible.
Okay, yeah.
I can't even read it myself now. I was, before I went to uni, I was a secretary, shorthand, and I get really, really impatient at having to write. And I'm a touch typist as well. I type between, when I'm on a roll, I can go 70, 75 words a minute.
Wow.
So I'm really fast. I can almost type as fast as I think.
It's funny. I use two fingers.
Do you hunt and peck?
Yeah. When you're there writing, do you say, to your friends, your family, your dog, don't bug me for the next 2-3 hours or whatever it is, or you just let it go and life happens?
No, I like if I'm not thinking about 4 things at once and I'll hit my head against a boulder, I'm not a focused thinker. If I get stuck on a sentence, I will do a bit of surfing. I will look at my Facebook and I'll come back to it and I'll have got it.
Oh, good. Yeah. No, good.
So yeah, no, it's no, I have to be in the middle of things. I always have been. I've always been busy doing 100 million things, and it's just the way my brain works, I guess.
Yeah. And when have you ever done a book tour, like organize a book tour for yourself, or around the country, or have you ever thought about doing that?
No. Well, circumstances at the moment don't lend themselves very well to that. So no, I don't get out much, Gary.
Oh, okay.
I live a life of the mind.
Yeah, well, I don't get out there much either. If it makes you feel any better. Okay, so when you are so right now, what are you working on?
I'm working on the 4th book, The Last Sentinel, it's called.
Finally, in the Flamark series?
That's the Flamark series, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
And I'm also working on the Darius Thorne concept.
Yep, good.
But I'm also writing a werewolf story.
Boy, you're busy. You're all this creative energy is bursting out of you.
when you get a story and it just won't go away, and it's not
yeah.
even in my subgenre, you know, and
Yeah.
so I'm thinking, right, I'm going to have to do some research for this. So I'm on the internet, on Amazon. Yeah, could I find anything that didn't have didn't have a man chest on it?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yes.
got
Fair enough.
onto the fabulous Books of Horror Facebook page. If you're into horror,
Oh, okay.
that's the place to be. There's thousands on that. They even have their own T-shirt
Wow.
and
Okay.
merchandise, and there's full of book recs on there. So there I did and got on there, and I got 2 recommendations. Ordered both. First one was meant to be a classic, 1991. I'm not going to mention it, the name of it, and I didn't enjoy it. The writing was so awful and clunky, and
Yeah.
I didn't. After I managed about 20 pages, and
Because you know.
DNF'd it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you know, you know. Though it
Yeah.
is supposed to be an absolute classic and
Oh.
a seminal work.
Are you talking about Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire? Oh, sorry, no. What am I talking about?
No,
Talking
I
about
don't know.
werewolves. We're talking about
Maybe
werewolves.
teeth. Something to do with teeth.
Yeah,
No.
I'm just thinking,
And
did you say 1991?
1991, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was this book. Well, you'll have to guess it because I'm not going to say the
The
title.
Jack Nicholson film made of it.
No.
Oh, okay. Because he made a film called Werewolf like in 1992 or something.
No, it's not. That's not it.
Okay, carry on.
So the second rec I got was for one that was written in 2011,
Yeah.
and I DNF'd that as well.
Ah.
And so I'm thinking, well, maybe I should just write the thing.
Thing yourself.
Yes. Well, it was because I want it to be really visceral, violent transformations.
Awesome.
Wolf on wolf, tearing the flesh action. But also I was thinking that it might be like a kind of retelling of Jane Eyre story.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering whether or not to actually call the chap Rochester. I don't think I will. That's too.
No. I kind of think mixed culture is great to
Yeah.
it in.
Well, Jane Eyre was the subject of one of these mashups called Jane Slayer.
Oh, okay.
SLE.
Yeah, but that's a bit too.
Yeah,
obvious.
and I'm not really into. I'm not sure that it wasn't like the Pride, Prejudice and Zombies, where you got it was just interspersed with the modern stuff. I'm not really into that. So anyway, the tropes are very similar. You've got this woman in search of a home and comes to the hall, and there he is, but he's troubled and decides that he's the last of the line. He's not going to let the disease he has, the condition he has, he's going to let it die out. Well, that's all very well, isn't it? Until you actually meet someone. And then you've got another pack of wolves who want to take over your territory. So what's the man to do? So that's what's in my head. And I've written the first chapter. I'm going to serialize it on my Substack.
Yeah, on your Substack.
And because it's another platform I quite enjoy.
Yes.
So people can read it there if they want to. I mean, I've not even uploaded it yet. I will start doing it once I've got another 3 or 4 chapters under my belt. So that's happening as well. So get very wolfy. But I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, when I was younger, I went through it, watching movies mainly. I always found the wolf thing, to me, it's a very powerfully sexual sort of thing, because they're ripping the clothes off and the primal scream, and you know what I mean? And to me, there was something extremely, not passionate, just more, So I do sort of like that kind of aspect to the human animal sort of transition. Because animals, what do? They live, they die, they have sex. Humans, we do those, but we also, paint, pictures and whatever. But that primal animal instinct of the werewolf rings so true to who
Yeah.
we are deep
Yeah.
inside, that
Yeah.
anger, that terror.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Primal's the word. I watched the 2012. What's it called now? It was a werewolf thing, and it had I'm rubbish with names. Anthony Hopkins was the like the father, the main wolf. It'll come to me what it is in a minute.
Can I look it up?
Anyway, Emily Blunt was in it as well.
Ooh.
And it was a remake of the 40s Lon Chaney film.
Yeah.
And was it Curse of the Werewolf? No. Well, anyway, I could look it up.
You know what? I'm looking it up for us.
Oh, are you? Right. Okay. So,
the 2010, The Wolfman.
do you know what? Yeah, The Wolfman. Duh. And I loved it. I loved it because I loved the music. It was proper like Hammer horror on steroids. I love the music. I love the fact that Anthony Hopkins couldn't get his accent right. I mean, the man's from Wales, right?
Yeah.
And he speaks in an Irish accent or a Cornish accent, and they're supposed to be in the Yorkshire Moors. So there was that. So I also watched the 1940s Wolfman with Lon Chaney, and that was, obviously it's got whiskers on it, and it was okay,
I think
it was the Wolfman that got me going, and I really quite liked it. The one I DNF'd had a gypsy site in it as well, so I'm thinking, oh God, do I have to write something with a gypsy? No, I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to go on my own, and if people don't like it, they don't like it. They don't have to read it, but I'm going to enjoy writing it.
Well, that's exactly the point. That's exactly the point. You don't have to worry about anyone else.
He's watching you, ye faithless, and when the witch doth come, hide your children in despair.
Let rip.
Yeah, let rip.
Let rip. Literally.
Yes.
Let rip.
Let rip. Also, I'm a big fan of Dr. Jekyll. And Mr. Hyde.
Yes.
I love that story. It's always scared me. Because it is really, when you think about it, he's transforming into a kind of evil man, but he's actually a monster because he goes through that the pain, and I really
well, that's it. You see, I mean that's it. I mean the whole thing is so painful, isn't it? It's so
painful. Yeah, pain.
You have this condition that you can't do anything about, and you know it's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
Every lunar cycle, and it's if you're not locking yourself away, or even if you are locking yourself away, you have to have teeth come through, and your whole skeletal frame fractures. What's all that about? And
you know what is that about? It's about repression, isn't it?
Well, I might have to start to have longer discussions with you, Gary.
Oh yeah, sure. Because it's again, you think about it, the werewolf is more real to me than Dracula or Frankenstein's monster. What else have we got? Dracula. I mean, Dracula can almost be a kind of a real person in a way, but it's the how civilization, society, culture represses everything that's animalistic about us. And these days, I suppose you can act out a bit more than you could say 60, 70 years ago. But I'm sure people have always acted out. They've always let go, and it's just different ways of expressing it. And I'm sure that when you think about a man who's so repressed and what he turns into physically and emotionally, it's this basically he's just this uncontrolled beast. So there's something about that in our culture that would create that art. Someone out there in the world would say, finally, you've created this story, because we've had 400 years of, but
Right.
Just an idea.
Now, I shall definitely be talking about this with
Oh, good.
you
Yeah,
again.
good.
No, I will.
People say, Superman and Spider-Man. I mean, to me, they're the same as, but they dialed down though. They are, they're Marvel. They're not real. Whereas
They're
if you look,
sanitized.
yeah,
They're sanitized, aren't
yeah,
they? And
that's
and you see, because that's the problem I think
oh
that
yeah,
I've come across
big
is
problem.
that I don't want it to be sanitized. I do want it to be real. And it's interesting that you're talking the way that you're talking, because I don't have that access to that kind of maleness that you're talking
Yes,
about. And I
yes,
think that's part of what I was looking for when I was doing this abortive research.
yeah.
So what was it really like? And so, but that's what a writer's for, I guess. I'm just going to have to imagine it.
But Emma can't very well stay inside forever. She's been there for 3 days. She's got to go out. She's got to get food. So she decides to go for a walk. She's stir crazy anyway. And she goes across the green to the church. It's intrigued her ever since she arrived. And it didn't disappoint. Ancient, old, really old graveyard, the gravestones leaning in against each other. You know what I mean. And it's there that she meets the priest, Will Turner. And he takes her back for coffee. And it's the first time she's had a proper conversation. She can't remember when. And it's then that he tells her about the problems with the village.
How do you get your books into the bookshops?
Well, there's a way of doing it. You have to upload it to a company that feeds into the wholesalers that distribute
Oh,
to
okay.
the bookshops. So, for example, I know that your local bookshop, you had to order my books through your local bookshop. They
Okay.
get on the computer, they go to their wholesalers, and the wholesalers carry, it's complicated, the data from the platform I upload to. It's called Ingram
Oh, okay.
Sparks.
Oh, so
Um,
do you know what the royalty rate on that is for you, or
oh, it's not a lot.
not a lot? No.
For paperbacks, it's about £1.50 if I'm lucky.
Yeah, it's amazing,
It's
isn't it?
terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I guess
And
I was
printing costs have gone up as well.
yeah.
So
I,
all the books have had to all go up as well to keep pace.
but I
Yeah,
guess
so it's more lucrative to go the ebook, to go the ebook to make
are
sure
you a
that
big ebook user yourself?
no,
No, no,
I've
no.
got a Kindle, but I don't use it. If I have
Oh,
to, I'll use my phone,
yeah.
and I listen to Audible,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
but not so much recently because I'm too busy writing. And but I just like the physical book.
He said he loved me. He said he needed me. Then he moved in and took over my life. And he hurt me. I had no choice but to run. And now he's here. It's worse. He's worse. It's like he's possessed.
How do you buy a lot of books?
I don't so much now, but I used to.
Yeah.
When I used to go out and about a lot, it would always be browsing bookshops and bringing
Yeah.
tons back. And like you, I like writing in them, but that's an old habit I've got. I've got lots of books that are just completely covered in notes. And
Actually,
some people don't like that. You get into where my Facebook page
yeah.
suddenly took off, my author page took off. when I showed that I
Dog-eared.
dog-eared my
That's
place.
right. I dog-eared.
Well, the outrage. Oh, like I broke the internet. You shouldn't do that. You must not do that. All these people telling me, and of course, because I'm oppositional, I'm doing it more. I thought, I'll do a video of me doing it.
Yeah, that's great. That's so true. It's funny because you and I are of the generation where we went to school, and I remember, if you got a book from a teacher, you weren't allowed to dog-ear it, you weren't allowed to write in it, it had to be perfect. And then as I grew older, I kept that habit with me for many years, even as an adult. And then one day I said, bugger it, no. And then, it's just a book, you know what I mean? Like there's billions of books. So,
yeah, cracking the spine as well. I love to see bookshelves full of cracked spines.
It proves you've read them.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess do you have the books you've published? Are they in front of you? Like when you write, do you keep them in a special place?
No.
No? Okay. Oh, that's good. And do you remember, how did you feel when you got your first paperback copy of your work?
Well, I'd like to say I was really excited, and I probably was. I think I was more excited about this.
Oh, that's yeah.
Because I think, I don't know, because I was doing the cover. We were doing the cover, and he spends so much time on the design of the thing. Yeah. When it finally came, it was more of a relief than anything else that it came out looking okay. And I have to say that it went through 3 incarnations before we were happy with it. So my daughter is involved in the design of it as well.
Oh, okay,
so,
that's good.
So the final version that you've got is the one I was really, really happy with, and I've kept with that. So I'm on with now thinking about how Darius Thorne's going to look, what that series is going to look like.
So you're excited to get going with that? I mean,
well, I've already published his origin story. That's in my anthology, which you can find on Substack. So I know I haven't got any plots or anything, but we have a tarot pack in production. A tarot pack. My daughter's on with that.
Oh, cool.
So that's going to appear in my second Kickstarter, when the one strand of black I have in my hair will finally also turn grey. I'm telling you, that was
grey is beautiful. It's the new beautiful. Don't you know that? Oh yeah, there's a big move. There's a big movement.
Thank you so much. Yes,
I'm serious.
Well, I started this when I was 16, and I was on the bottle for for a long time. I was on the bottle till I thought, nah, doesn't matter anymore. So there we go.
What time period are we looking for the next series?
Right, so I'm hoping to get the last 2 of the Flamock series written this year.
Okay, cool.
And yes, so Darius will come out probably September next year, because the Kickstarter will be for Halloween, and Darius and the tarot has to be out for that.
So actually, can I ask you? I don't know much about Kickstarter. I know what it is, but like, what are you doing for your Kickstarter? Like, what is it? What is the
well, it's a complete. Yeah, I mean, it's for a start, it's an enormous learning curve, I have to say.
Yes,
I thought Kickstarter was like GoFundMe, where you were basically asking people for money, and I thought, no. But it isn't like that at all. It's like an entire community of creatives that go on to draw an entire community of creative lovers who like books or technology or well, anything that you any entrepreneurs go on there
Yeah.
in
Okay.
order
Yeah.
to raise money for
For
their
their
project.
ideas. Yeah.
That's right. And authors have started to populate it as well, because to get on Kickstarter, the things that you offer on Kickstarter are exclusive, things that you wouldn't get in the shops. You wouldn't be going on Kickstarter to buy an ebook.
Yes.
But you would be going on to get a special edition, to get artwork related to the books that you
Yes.
wouldn't get in anywhere else. And so it's a way that authors have of reaching this different community, of producing book-related stuff that they can't offer anywhere else.
Yeah. So it's a unique.
Fans of your readership, fans of the series, and your readership will become excited, because they can buy merchandise and extra stuff again that they wouldn't be able to get elsewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, if you see, I don't know if you can see, just above my desk there is my Flammock map.
Oh yeah, the Flammock. Yeah, that's great. That's actually
so I offer
who did that?
Pardon?
Did you create that map?
No, I commissioned that.
Oh, you commissioned that.
So I offered this time round.
Yeah, that's great.
I offered the special edition hardbacks. I offered the map, various other things, and you bundle it up, and people will pledge for a bundle of this or a bundle of that. Yeah. It's great. Anyway, next year will be the series, the Darius series, plus the tarot, and I'll also bundle the Flamark in with it as well. So
wonderful.
So I might even run another one this year for the end of the series.
I must admit, I like the when this is great. That was really nice. Very personal.
Yeah,
I like that. That's a great idea. Independent writers and publishers are artists like any other artist.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And there's a real joy to seeing it through from the beginning right to the end yourself. And even greater joy, I have to say, at reaping the rewards oneself.
Yes, of course. No.
Because the way that traditional publishing works, the model hasn't changed that much. No. If you're lucky, you'll get an advance. If you're very lucky,
if you're lucky, yeah.
And publishers do tend to take between 60 even 70% of your work, and you are still expected to do all the promo.
Yeah.
Well, not maybe with the big 5 publishers. They've obviously got their own clout as well.
Yeah.
But after the first year, there'll be inevitable loss of interest in pushing.
Of course, yeah.
The book, and so there it is on the shelf. You don't have any rights to it.
Yeah.
I mean, Angels is now 4 years old this year, and I'm still pushing it.
Yeah,
and I know another indie writer who she's trad published and indie published.
Yeah.
And her trad publishers can't get over the fact that her books, even though they were written years ago, are still selling. And she said, "Oh, that's because I'm pushing them as an indie writer as well." And that's what happens, because they don't do that. They, they're onto pastures new. So I don't.
And that's what I'm saying.
I've never looked back. I've never looked back. Yeah.
That's what I find. So I mean, that's what I find it very attractive. People who basically they don't have the establishment behind them. They create a story, they create their work, they create their novel, and I mean, to me, it's inspiring because it just means that other people who'll, read your books, look at and find out about you, and look at your promos. They're great. I mean, there's no way that you could think that has just come up from someone's own effort. Do you know what I mean? You just think, oh, there must be a team behind that, a big business behind that, and that's the
Oh,
beauty.
really?
And that's no, because probably they're beautifully made. I mean,
Oh,
they come across as 100% professional, meaning that anything I see when they when they do those promos for James Patterson, whatever, they're the same. I mean, what I'm saying is that maybe the publishing world, the traditional, is going to start thinking differently, because I think in the
yeah,
long run, independent artists, because that's what you
yeah,
are going
yeah.
to overtake it.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yes. I mean, yes. I mean, certainly the model is starting to change.
Yeah.
But for me, anybody out there who is an aspiring writer, who's spending a lot of time querying the publishers, there's such a lot of gatekeeping happening. The publishers gatekeep you, and if you the danger is the tendency is to feel that you're not worthy because you're not being picked up by a publishing house. But the fact of the matter is, like 1% of the people that query ever get picked up.
I know.
It's tantamount to winning the lottery.
I agree.
And if they did accept you, it doesn't necessarily say that you are a good or a bad writer. It's just that you fit that particular niche that they want you to fit in at that time. It's a coincidence of need. So I think I haven't looked back, and I would certainly really encourage any young writer or aspiring writer,
for sure,
to if they want to go trad, try it, do the querying. But if it don't get anywhere, don't worry. Do it yourself.
It does not reflect your talent or your skill or your mastery of. I totally agree. And even on the fact that when you talk about the gatekeeping, they gatekeep the language, they gatekeep the characters. You can imagine if 20 people are looking at your one book to morph it into a saleable item, I just cannot see how that can be how that improves it. With 20 different minds working on it. Take this out, change this. You can't say that. You can't write that.
Yes, my husband wrote 4 books. And he got into a couple of editorial stages. Got a London agent in 2000, which was really rare.
Oh yeah, that's huge.
And we realised that was when we first realised that even though you get an agent, you still get rejections. She just sent them to us, instead of coming direct. They came through her. Thank you. She loved his work and so on. And 60, 70, she pushed it to 60 plus publishers. One in Russia, actually, weird, and nothing, absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So it wasn't. So it wasn't a reflection of his writing.
Oh no,
I totally.
Just, and also in the past, before Scribner, is it Scribner? Scribner. What's the
Scrivener? What the software?
Before Scrivener and before even Amazon KDP, all I remember about self-publishing, it was called vanity publishing.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
It had such a bad. You know what I mean? They made so I always get the feeling it's like a conspiracy theory that the publishing world went, we cannot let people publish their own stuff.
Yeah,
we've got to make it difficult. And I'm sure that there are people who went, obviously vanity publishing, there was obviously a place for it, but there must have been many people who published their own books and were successful, but we just never hear about it.
Yeah.
So when I look at your 3 books when they came in the mail, I was ecstatic because you can not only can you see it, you can feel the work. You know what I mean? You can feel it. And
He's watching you, ye faithless, and when the witch doth come, hide your children and despair.
Yeah.
That you made that happen, no one else. I mean, people helped you, but what I'm saying is
Yes.
you don't need it. You didn't need a publisher or an agent to say, "Oh, we'll think about it." You did it yourself.
Yeah, that's right.
Good.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I'm looking really forward to reading more of your stuff and learning more about you as a person. And I just think I just feel you're a very inspiring person. Put it that way. And that's why I when you talk, when I read, I can match the two, and it feels good. And I well done to you. That's what I should say.
Thank you.
Well, you deserve it. You work bloody hard. Well done. I'm really good.
As it's just been lovely to meet you.
Oh yes, it's lovely to meet you.
Finally, in the flesh, in the virtual flesh.
I knew you'd be lovely, and I love your accent's nice, and so I mean, you're a lovely, warm person, and I'm so happy that you agreed to do this. I really appreciate it.
All right, good. Well, it's been lovely. I'll go and get the dog now.
Oh yeah, the poor dog. Shit. And I'll be in touch, as we go.
Okay.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Bye-bye.